Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to study letters to the editor. Before that, let's understand who is an editor. An editor is a critical reader and a lover of words whose job is to polish and refine a story or an article. Editors are used in various industries and for many types of products such as magazines, newspapers, blogs, and books. Editors are responsible for checking facts, spelling, grammar, and punctuation. Why do we write a letter to the editor? What is the need? Let's understand. Many times we think that an issue is so important that we have to speak out. Like we are disturbed by the rising cases of crime against women, or we are disturbed by frequent traffic jams in the city, and we think that enough is enough now. We want to do something and we decide to write a letter to the editor. Many times we might be having some very innovative idea and we want to share it with common people. For example, how to reduce pollution. Sometimes we want to influence public opinion on a policy or program of government. For example, the Delhi government imposed odd and even scheme. Many people were unhappy. They wrote letters to the editor expressing their opinion about the odd even scheme. Or we may educate the general public on a specific matter like carpooling, use of public transport, corruption, dowry, evil of drinking. Many times we may influence policymakers or elected officials directly or indirectly on some local issues like potholes in roads, garbage in the area, lack of power supply, or supply of dirty water in our colony. Before we can write a letter to the editor, we must remember certain basic things. Number one, we have to open the letter with a very simple salutation. It can be simple, sir or madam. We have to grab the reader's attention. We should explain what the letter is about at the beginning. We have to explain why this issue is important. We also should give evidence for any praise or criticism. For example, if we are writing about odd even scheme, we must specify why we are praising the scheme or criticizing the scheme. We have to state our opinion about what should be done. We should give some concrete suggestions also. We'll discuss a sample letter which will make you understand the right concept of a letter to the editor, and you will learn how to write a letter to the editor yourself. Suppose you are Mrinal, a social worker. You feel upset as some of the good schools are admitting as many as 60 to 70 students in a class just to mint money. This is adversely affecting academic standards. Write a letter to the editor of a national daily highlighting this corrupt practice. You can see in this letter we have got some input. This letter will be written by Mrinal. Mrinal is the sender or writer of this letter. She is a social worker and she is upset about which issue? Large size of class. 60 to 70 students are sitting together to study, which is affecting academic standards. And the letter will be written to the editor of a national daily. Dear students, here National Daily is not the name of any newspaper. It means a newspaper which is published at a national level daily. So you should not write the editor National Daily. We must write the name of a newspaper before the editor. After the editor, you can see the sample letter here. 7 Racecourse Road, Mumbai. This is sender's address. Then date 16th April 2020. Then you can see the receiver's address. Learn it properly, dear students. There many students make mistake. The editor we have to write. Then the name of the newspaper, the Times of India. Please don't write National Daily here. Shivaji Marg, Mumbai, the address of the newspaper office. This is receiver's address. So sender's address, date, receiver's address. Then sir oblique madam. After that, subject. Subject can also be written before salutation, sir and madam. Normally, traditionally, it is written before sir or madam. But in modern times, many people write it after salutation. You can write it in either way. Sir, ma'am, salutation, then subject, commercialization of education. That is the subject. After that, in 3 paragraphs, we write the letter. You can see the first paragraph, which must specify the purpose of writing a letter. Kindly allow me to air through your widely read columns my grave, which means serious, concern for the crass, which means stupid, commercialization prevalent in the good schools renowned for providing quality education. The purpose of writing this letter has been made very clear in the first paragraph. The purpose is to raise voice against the large class size, crass commercialization of education by some very reputed public schools. You can see the second paragraph, which gives the details of the problem here. In this case, my daughter goes to a prestigious public school which admits students after conducting so many tests and charging a hefty amount as various funds. To a casual onlooker, the system appears restrictive and selective. But the overcrowded classrooms with 60 to 70 students in the primary section tell a different story. The writer is disturbed by the overcrowded classrooms, 60 to 70 students. Almost every section of every class is in a similar situation. Even though the school works in 2 shifts, there doesn't seem to be any respite from the ever increasing size of the class. So in the second paragraph, in a letter to the editor, we give description of the problem, we elaborate the issue, we express our views and opinions. In the third paragraph, we write about the consequences, or we can also give suggestions. The overcrowding of classrooms adversely affects the academic standards. It is very difficult for any teacher, howsoever resourceful, to build any rapport or conduct interactive sessions in such large classes. The curriculum is covered in a poor manner. The academic values are brushed aside with nonchalance, and the sole factor that governs the school authorities is the money that these large numbers rake in. The effect of overcrowding of classrooms is poor academic standards, academic loss of the students. The teachers cannot have one-to-one interaction due to the large class size. The consequences of overcrowding have been mentioned here in this paragraph. Will the authorities look into this sad state of affairs and bring an end to this commercialization of education resulting in falling academic standards? Here, an action is demanded in form of a question. The writer wants the authorities to end this commercialization of education. This is also leave taking. Now the writer of the letter is taking leave. He is saying goodbye. Yours truly, that is complimentary clause. Mrinal, name of the writer. So, what do we conclude from this sample letter is that the format of a letter to the editor is sender's address, date, receiver's address, subject, salutation, body in 3 paragraphs, complimentary clause and signature. Name, designation if any. If the letter is written in official capacity, then designation should also be written. So this is the format of a letter to the editor. Sender's address, date, receiver's address, subject, salutation, body, complimentary clause, signature, name and designation if any. Students, now we'll discuss some common mistakes made by students in a letter to the editor. You can see number 1, very common, in fact, writing National Daily as name of the newspaper. Once again I tell you, it is not the name of a newspaper. National Daily means a newspaper which is published at national level daily. It is not the name of any newspaper. Then many students request the editor to take any action. Actually, editor cannot solve your problem. He cannot take action. He can only publish your letter in his newspaper. But many students demand an urgent action from the editor in a letter to the editor, which is very wrong. You should never do that. Then many students write only the editor in the receiver's address. They neither write the name of the newspaper nor the name of the city from which the newspaper is published. The proper address should be the editor, then name of the newspaper, then city. Many students don't write sufficient content. Dear students, you should remember that it is a baby article. It is a mini article actually in form of a letter. So you have to give a lot of content. You have to make your letter content rich. Now let's understand some useful language which can be used in the beginning of a letter to the editor. Instead of writing a stereotyped through the columns of your reputed newspaper, which we have been learning since childhood, we can use some fresh phrases or sentences to begin our letter to the editor. You can write, I shall feel highly obliged if you could publish the following few lines in the esteemed columns of your widely read newspaper. Kindly allow me to air through your columns my grave concern for women's safety, child safety. Kindly do me the favor of giving a little space in the widely read columns of your esteemed newspaper to express my views or concern over growing pollution, increasing population. Through the columns of your reputed daily, I wish to express my views, concern, opinions or highlights. Highlight, that is the most common beginning that you might have seen. Then useful language which is used in the ending. Therefore, I request you to enlighten the people by printing my views on the first page of your esteemed daily. I hope my views would find a little space in your next edition. You are requested to give a loud voice to my views. I hope my comments, suggestions, points will be taken into consideration. I hope the government will take an action, or the local council will take an action, or we will be able to overpower the problem of corruption or pollution. Or we can write, I hope something will be done about this urgently. These phrases can be used in the ending of a letter to the editor. Then when we are stating an opinion, we can use in my opinion. Women empowerment is the need of the hour. I feel that women empowerment is the need of the hour. I am opposed to the idea of odd and even. I am in favor of triple talaq. I strongly agree with odd even scheme. I strongly disagree with odd even scheme. These can be used when you state an opinion in a letter to the editor. Then to express the consequences or results. This will mean that the pollution will be reduced. Then, therefore, as a result, consequently, if we do this, if they do this, obviously, clearly, all these phrases can be used when we wish to express consequences or results. Then to list points, to give a list of many points, we can use firstly, first of all, secondly, thirdly, furthermore, what is more, finally. This will add color to your language and your letter will become impressive. Let us see another sample. You are Rita or Ranjan Srinivasan of Gachibowli, Hyderabad, where there is no post office. Write a letter to the editor of a national daily, drawing the attention of the government to this basic need of the residents of your area. Justify the opening of a post office in your locality in not more than 200 words. So you can see there sender's address 10B Gachibowli, Hyderabad. This is sender's address, then date 10th April 2020. Then you can see the editor, the Times of India, proper name of the newspaper, no national daily. Then Hakimpet, Hyderabad. Subject, problems faced due to the absence of a post office in our locality. Salutation, sir or madam. Through the columns of your esteemed newspaper, I wish to draw the attention of the government authorities to the problems faced by the residents of Gachibowli due to the absence of a post office. You can see here, dear students, it is a very traditional type of beginning of a letter to the editor. You can change it and use some sentences from the suggestions given previously in this video. Then in the first paragraph, the problem has been described. We face a lot of inconvenience because of the above, and many a time urgent mail is lost due to careless handling. On approaching the sub post office, we are told that they would not register our complaint. The local post office is not registering their complaint, sub post office. That's why they are writing to the letter to the editor. Since ours is a newly established colony, no one is willing to listen to our problem. Our colony is in dire need of a post office. So in this second paragraph, the problem has been described in detail. I am sanguine that the competent authorities will be kind enough to pay heed to our need and open a branch of post office in our locality. In the third paragraph, the action has been demanded from the competent authorities. Then complimentary clause, yours faithfully or truly. Practice time, dear students. There are some questions on your screen. You can pause the video and note down the questions and practice yourself. You can see more questions here. Thank you.